opening prayer from Minister Bridget Edwards, who is our Religious Affairs Chair and also Associate Pastor at New Hope Baptist Church. Minister Edwards, if you please.
Madam President, and to all assembled, let us go to the throne of grace. Most gracious Father, we come in this monumental moment. First, God, to say thank you. We now pray, Father, and invoke your spirit to be in the midst of these proceedings. God, we ask that you would guide each candidate, allow them, oh God, to run their race with integrity, and if elected, to serve with dignity. We pray and ask it all in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. And thank you. And so this is how we're going to do this. We are going to ask each candidate to open up with a 2-minute opening statement. We will then have our usual statement or disclaimer from our general counsel, the Honorable Judge Alona Holmes, regarding the questions that are going to be asked. And with that, we'll go in alphabetical order. Attorney Chris Brown, if you will give us your 2-minute opening, sir, beginning now.
Yes, thank you. First off, I am extremely honored to be invited to this prestigious organization. Again, I'm glad to be here and honored to do so. I am Chris Brown. I'm running for County Court Judge in Broward County. And neither candidate in our race, this is an open seat. That means there's not a sitting judge. No candidate in our race has ever served as a judge. I'm the only candidate that's actually had jury experience. What does that mean? The jury system is the heart of our system, and I've had jury trials in county court, circuit court, federal court. I've argued before the 3rd and 4th District Court of Appeals. That's my legal experience, and I've readily conceded that all the candidates meet the requirements to be a judge in Broward County that are running. And I asked what separates me, why I'm asking for your vote, why am I different? I think what defines me is my family, who I am, which defines all of us. I've been married to my wife, Mindy Brown, for 37 years. We lived in Broward County for 34 years. We raised 3 children in Broward County, all going to public schools. Our youngest daughter was a special needs daughter who had tremendous medical issues. And it taught me and my wife that every family struggles. Was a lawyer, I'm a lawyer. We struggle with the healthcare system, getting her the healthcare she needs, getting people to see her for who she was. She died at age 33, 5 years ago, but she was a tremendous blessing in our life. She taught me more about life than I ever learned in law school or from anyone else. So I think what I bring is that empathy that you see, to be able to see people for who they are, I think is where we start the conversation and we go from there. I think that's extremely important. I think that's what I bring to the court. In my practice of law, I represented people. That's what I do. I love helping people. I've helped people from all walks of this community, and it gives me great pleasure to do that. I'm trying to do that to be a circuit court judge and do that on the circuit bench because I believe the county court is a perfect fit for me. I enjoy helping people and I enjoy doing that. I was interviewed.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, let us go to the next candidate, Ms. Suzette Hyde, Mrs. Attorney Hyde.
Good evening, Madam President, esteemed committee members, and those of you who are out there watching. Thank you for being an informed voter. I think it's important that we filter the information that we're getting and we make an informed decision when we have a right to vote. My name is Suzette Hyde, and I am on your ballot. If you live anywhere in Broward County, I'm on your ballot in Group 15, running for County Court Judge. I've been an attorney for 23 years. I'm licensed to practice in New York, New Jersey, and Florida. I appeared in courts in New York before coming here, practiced for 9 years in New York, came to Florida in 2007. I've served for 10 years on the bench as a civil traffic hearing officer. That means I've been appointed by the chief judge to serve, to assist our Broward County Court judges. So that means I am the only person in this race who has experience on the bench, but I'm running independently. I'm not running based on anyone else's accolades. I'm not running based on a connection to anyone else. The canons talk about the judiciary being independent. So that means that we have a duty to make decisions regardless of who we are connected to. My opponent is married to a sitting judge in Broward County Court, and I'm not saying that he shouldn't be a judge, but it should be a different jurisdiction because it compromises the integrity of our courts. I have also served as a family lawyer for the past 12 years, running my own business, and it's unique being a family law attorney because my job is not just to win at all costs, but to make sure that the community is protected.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Okay, and from that, we need to ask Judge Holmes. Judge Holmes, obviously retired, serves as a general counsel for the Fort Lauderdale Broward NAACP. She also does some consulting, oftentimes with our state president, who is also a member of this branch as well. That's the Florida State Conference NAACP. And Judge Holmes, you are on.
Oh, all right, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, good evening to all. To the candidates and to those in the listening audience, the NAACP is very much aware of the judicial canons and ethics that govern all candidates and judges who are up for election. We endeavor to maintain the questioning that is consistent with the mandates of Canon 7, which each candidate has signed an attestation that they have read and that they understand Canon 7. So these questions are, in my humble opinion, these are valid questions pursuant to the canon. So to the candidates for tonight, Canon 4 of the Code of Judicial Conduct encourages judges to engage in activities to improve the law, the legal system, and the administration of justice. Canon 4B specifies that judges are encouraged to speak, write, lecture, teach, and participate in other quasi-judicial activities concerning the law, the legal system, the administration of justice, and the role of the judiciary as an independent branch within our system of government. And based upon this canon, and as I read both the A and B of that canon, the question that you will be asked by President Ellison is consistent with that canon. And on that note, Madam President, I turn the floor back to you.
Thank you, Judge. And so there will be 3 questions. You will get a total of 3 minutes each to answer each one of the questions. And question number 1, and again, we'll go in alphabetical order. Attorney Brown, what have you written or what presentations have you made within this canon? You have 3 minutes, sir, starting now.
Okay. Written, and I'm 27 years of practice. I've been a sole practitioner. I've helped individuals in the legal system. I'm not someone who gets involved with writing legal memorandum or writing or causes or things like that. So that part of it I haven't done, but I do know this: the county court system belongs to the people. The county court is consistent of people that come before the court unrepresented or represented. So I reached out to the community in those areas, and I participated in organizations like Make-A-Wish Foundation, Special Olympics, Hope South Florida, Broward Children's Center, being a community member, because I don't think you can participate in the legal system unless you know the community. And that's what I've done. And no, I do not write papers on the legal system. I'm not looking to change the law in the legal system. I'm looking at doing what I've done in the private practice. I help one person at a time, one case at a time. A judge, you help one person at a time, one case at a time. You're expected to apply the law equally from case to case. And that's what I've done. I don't have a lot of academic accolades in that matter. I just help people. That's what I do. I enjoy helping people. And that's what the county court's about. And that's what I'm about. I appreciate your hearing me on the question and hope you accept that as my answer. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. All right, Ms. Hyde, same question.
Thank you. I invite your listening audience to go to my website, thelawadvantage.com. I maintain a blog there, and I also answer questions on who I am as an attorney and how to navigate the system. And in the blogs that I've written, I talk to my family law clients about how to bridge the gap between your practical family life and what actually happens in court. So they can find some valuable information, because I believe the statistics is almost 80% of the people in family court are self-represented. So they come to court thinking that they understand the system, and they really do not. I've also written an ebook called Making the Courts Work for You, Not Against You. And the reason why I wrote that book is because I have represented many people who believe that our court system is not working in their best interest. They actually believe that the court system is trying to sabotage their family relationship and sabotage what they're all about. So I explain the structure of the court system. I explain how the court system is not like what you see on television, because a lot of people are getting their information from social media and from some of these entertainment shows. And I talk about who the players are in the court system and how to get the best out of the court system. And is that my time, or do I have more time?
No, go right ahead.
Okay, thank you. I also have a published case. I practiced in New York before I came here, and I am the only candidate to actually have a published case, and I have a published case in the area of insurance law, and that's from doing one of my bench trials in the area of PIP law.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next question. The Florida Bar requires that attorneys provide 30 hours of pro bono for each of the poor representation annually. And so what have you done in the last year to fulfill this requirement? We'll reverse the order and start with Attorney Hyde.
The last year has been really different from my other years because of the COVID activities that we've had. In my prior years, for the past 10 years, I've served with the Florida Guardian Ad Litem program, providing free guardian ad litem services to children who are abused, abandoned, and neglected. So that means that the court appoints someone who will go into the home, be the eyes and ears of the court. So that means that I talk to the child, I investigate what's going on in the home. I also go to the schools, I talk to the doctors, I read the files, I talk to the parents and the caregivers, and I write a report and also testify in court. And that is all done free of charge. I also serve with the Big Brothers and Big Sisters program, where I have a designated mentee, and we get together and we have activities, and I talk to this young lady about life and how to really navigate this world.
Thank you. Attorney Brown, same question.
Right. Actually, that's one of my strong points. I really love helping people. And actually, as a sober practitioner, you know, you got to pay the bills. It's really hard. But when people come to me and they have a case, just recently, a woman came to me. She was in a real estate deal. She put her life savings in there. It only amounted to about $4,000, but it was everything she had. She had an attorney. The attorney withdrew. I don't know why. She had no money for an attorney. I get involved and I get her money back, and I don't charge her. But this is my nature. I do that all the time for clients. Sometimes if a client can only pay a small portion, I help them. A lot of times in the legal system, it just isn't cost effective for representation. A lot of firms turn down cases all the time, left and right. I am not that type of a lawyer. I see the person, I try to help out when I can, and I do it routinely. And that's one of the honors that I get for being a lawyer. I think lawyers like doing that. I think the lawyers that do it, I'm not looking to see, okay, how do I get paid from doing the work for a client? I really want to help somebody. And it's really difficult when you're involved in cases like that to say, okay, the legal system is not designed to help the poor. It's not designed to give everybody their day in court. It costs. You have to fight. And I fought for clients that had no money, didn't expect to be paid, but gave them their day in court because that's who I am. I enjoy doing that, and that's what I've always done, and I continue to do it. And I thank you for the opportunity to answer that question.
Thank you. Same question, Attorney Hyde?
I would like to add to my last answer that I'm also a network attorney with many prepaid legal organizations such as US Legal, MetLife, where they offer low-cost services to many people who cannot afford an attorney with my experience. I've been an attorney for 23 years, and the rates that my colleagues are charging are nowhere close to what I also charge my clients. And I've also worked with the Veterans Pro Bono Project. I've represented people from that program as well.
Thank you. And the next question, what organizations are you a member of other than membership? Do you hold the office? What other organizations and affiliations do you have? We will start with Mr. Brown.
Okay. Other organizations, I'm not really a member of a lot of organizations. I may have been in the standard, Florida Bar, South Florida Bar, things like that. I've been a member of that organization. I participate in the legal community, but that's really not my forte. I really like helping people. That's why I reached out to everybody in Broward County. That's why the Sun Sentinel has endorsed my campaign after interviewing all the candidates. That's why the AFL-CIO has endorsed my campaign. That's why the FOP has endorsed my campaign, the Hispanic vote, and I've been and on and on. I've reached out to everyone. I want to reach out to everybody in Broward County. I'm not advocating for any particular organization. I think this is a county-wide race. It's a race basically designed for the people. It's nonpartisan. And I don't think really organizations foster the legal system. I have no problem with that. But other organizations, that belongs to a different type of agenda. The NAACP is a great organization. I'm not a member of that organization. I believe in what you do. But no, I am not an advocate for organizations in general. I just help people. That's what I do. That's what I bring to the court. I think in recognition of that, that's why they have some of these endorsements and others. And I do appreciate the opportunity to serve. And if I didn't think I could serve and give everybody an opportunity to be heard in court and be treated the same as the last person that was heard in court or the next person that was being heard in court and treat everybody equally before the law, that's what you do as a judge. And complacency ruins and obviously causes injustice in our system. And a judge has to have that to be able to see people over process. And if you don't see that, it's not your nature, then you're going to struggle in this profession because the legal system and the court system is overwhelmed with cases. But you have to see the one cases before you every single time. It has to mean something to you. And it can't be dictated by what organization or what group you're trying to foster or whatever. It's basically you're applying the same law to everybody before you. That's what I do. It's in my nature. Our daughter taught me how to see people for who they are. That's where it starts, but it goes beyond that. You have to educate yourself. You have to really see and make a challenge and fight the system and say, look, I got 5,000 cases, but I'm only worried about this one particular case. And everybody in the courtroom, if I'm elected, will know that they may not win, they may not lose, but they will know they were seen and they were heard in my courtroom and they were treated with respect and they were treated just like everybody else in the courtroom. And I think if you don't do that as a judge, you shouldn't be a judge. And if I didn't think I had that skill or that wasn't part of who I am, I would not run for county court judge and I would not be asking you for your support. I love the endorsements that I've got, but the greatest endorsement I'm seeking is your endorsement and the endorsement of all your viewers here. I thank you very much for the opportunity to be here.
Thank you. All right, same question, Attorney Hyde.
I came to Broward County in 2007 as a divorced single mother, and I did not come looking at what I did not have, but what I could really offer. And I knew that I have an education and a skill that most people do not have. When I started my practice in 2010, I had a child who was 9 years old and in school. And so handling that practice and also raising a child hasn't been easy. But in my practice, I've also helped other students. I hire high school students in my practice. I could hire experienced people to work in my office, but I am really encouraged by students who are enthusiastic about the law, who want to learn what it's like to be an attorney, who are deciding whether or not they want to study law or go to law school. So in training people who come into my office, that also takes up a great deal of time on its own, because I'm also mentoring them as well as hiring them in my practice. But I'm also a Florida Supreme Court mediator. I'm a FINRA arbitrator, a member of Toastmasters International Club, and the volunteer service that I mentioned before. That also takes up a good deal of my free time. And I believe that in doing those things, I have provided for the community in the best way that I saw.
Thank you. And now we will ask for your 3-minute closing. Tell us anything you want to encourage us, to show us that you are the best candidate in order for us to cast our vote to. And so we now will go in the reverse order as we did for the opening. We will go with Attorney Hyde. Your 3 minutes, ma'am.
Thank you, Madam President. And thank you to all of the esteemed board members for having me on this program and for inviting and asking your questions. Well, the right to vote is not a right that we need to take for granted. But we also need to be informed. It's not important enough that we just show up at the polls and we just check a box next to a name that sounds familiar, or that someone tells you this is who you should vote for. Our governmental system, we still have a long way to go. Abraham Lincoln gave a famous speech years ago that talked about having a government that is by the people and for the people. And Broward County still has a way to go in order to have that judicial system where it's equal justice and it's justice for everyone that's in Broward County. But I think that we need to lead the way. Broward County is the most diverse county in the state of Florida. And therefore, I believe that Broward County needs to lead the way for diversity on the Broward County bench. And having a good judicial system is not just about hiring somebody who is nice and compassionate. It's going to take work and a concerted effort to have the judicial system that we need and that the people deserve. I am an immigrant. I'm a single mother, and I'm a business owner. I believe that I connect with a lot of the people who come to this country, who come to this county, holding on to the ideals and the principles that we hold near and dear and that make our country great. I'm not able to tell you all about myself in this interview that we have here. Do your homework. Don't let this be the end. Go to my website, hyde4judge.com, and you can find out some more about me. And as I said, Google my name. I've been a business owner for the past 12 years, but you will find what my clients are saying about me. I had the chance to Google my opponent's name, and I could only find 1 half-star review for someone who's a business owner for the past 27 years. And so you have to ask yourself, does Broward County deserve better? Does Broward County deserve to have the best on their judicial system? And you should also want an independent judicial system. As I said before, my opponent is married to a sitting judge in the same division. He said repeatedly, my wife has taught me everything I know. And I believe that that will continue as he continues his career.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Attorney Brown, 3 minutes, sir. Hold on, you have to unmute. Okay, go right ahead.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to participate in this forum. It is through forums like this that you get to know the candidates. So when you go to vote, you're not just voting on the name that's on the ballot. You've actually heard from the individual. You can Google the person, you can go and investigate, you can ask your friends and family. So I think The vote is very powerful, but an informed vote is extremely powerful. We only lose when we don't vote. And this organization understands the power of the vote. So why I'm asking for your vote, and I'm saying I've done it before. I said, why are you there? I enjoy helping people. I enjoy helping this community. That's my nature. It is not a struggle for me to try to reach out and help someone in the court system, in the community. And I think that's important when you come to the court. And like I said, I've had the legal experience. I've been in every single courtroom in Broward County. I've seen the federal court system. I've seen county court. I've had jury trials in all these court systems. I know what makes a good judge and I know what makes a bad judge. I've seen good judges have bad days. I know what causes injustice in the courtroom, and I've seen it, and it's complacency. And you got to be the kind of judge that will not tolerate that, that understands that any injustice in your courtroom is on the judge. You got to accept people over process. It's got to be who you are. It's got to be what you're about. It's not about joining organizations. It's not checking the boxes. It's about being what your nature tells you to be. I'm that type of person. I see people who they are. My daughter, like I said, taught me more. Yes, my wife has taught me. I've learned from my family and friends. I continue to learn this day. I have 27 years practicing law experience where I learned from my clients as I help them. It's been a beautiful experience for me. It is a powerful thing that I bring to the bench. And I think that when you look at endorsements and the Sun Sentinel and endorsements I have, they recognize the potential that's there. And I say potential because neither me or Suzette have been on the county court bench before, have never been a judge before. So we look forward to the opportunity to do that. And like I said, if I did not believe that I could bring those character traits to the bench, if I did not believe that every person in my courtroom will be seen and heard and will be equally applied the law in their case, regardless of how many cases come before me, regardless of how much time constraints are on my schedule, regardless of that, injustice in any one case is injustice throughout the whole system. I believe in diversity of the system, in the court system. We have 70% of the county court judges are women. And as my opponent pointed out, diversity is important. But I think that you got to look at the character of the person that's running, what they bring to the bench, the time, the experience they have. Suzette is a very nice person, would be extremely well candidate. I have no problems with her. But I think at this time, I'm asking for your vote because I believe I'm the candidate that brings the community to the court, brings everything you need in a county court judge and the people's court. And I do ask for your support and endorsement above those endorsements I have in the legal community, in our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, and so this is Group 15, Attorney Chris Brown and Attorney Suzette Hyde asking for your vote. We wanted to make sure that everyone knew who the candidates were. So people, as they continue to text my office, I will continue to refer you to our page and our video so you'll have an opportunity to see. And this will be both on YouTube and on Facebook, and we will continue to send it out. So since ballots are dropping, mine came. So we will ask everyone to make an educated decision. Thank you both. And Ms. Burrows, if you will, I will move them over to the attendee side and you bring in Attorney Farmer and Attorney Williams, please, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a
Thank
good
y'all.
night. See you at the polls.
Take care. Okay. So, we're missing here still. Mr. Farmer. Okay, thank you. And so as I mentioned earlier, I want to, not sure, I think that Attorney Farmer was not on, so I wanted to do a quick disclaimer again. Judge, if you will read again, for those who may not have been on, the disclaimer regarding our questions, if you will do that, and then I will go back to the opening, which will be a 2-minute opening from each of you. Then we will go on to answer each one of the questions, and you'll have 3 minutes to answer the questions. We will then have a 3-minute 2-minute closing. Let me just do the, now that we've done that, let me just do the opening, Judge, and then we'll go with the disclaimer there. All right. Yeah, hang on a second. We'll just do it the same as we did it before. So we will do the 2-minute opening and then we'll go with the disclaimer.
All right, thank you.
We will go in alphabetical order again. Attorney Farmer. Your 2-minute opening, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, Marcia and the entire NAACP staff. Really appreciate this opportunity. One thing I've learned throughout this journey in this judicial race is how many people in the community just aren't aware about the judicial candidates. And so forums like this really give us an opportunity to talk about ourselves. So thank you very much. I am Gary Farmer. Many of you know me. I've worked with many of you over the last 6 years as a state senator. And you know, I went to Tallahassee. I ran for the Senate for really one reason: to help people. I had spent 12 years as a volunteer advocate up there on consumer justice issues, and I saw how the average person, the little guy, the little gal, wasn't being helped. And so I ran for the Senate to do just that. Unfortunately, things have become different, and the environment's so toxic that can't help people there anymore. And so getting back to my roots, as a 31-year lawyer, born and raised in Broward County, practicing my entire career down here, I just love the law. And I got involved with the legislative process as an advocate for that very reason, to make sure that the law was fair to everybody. I've tried cases in all different practice areas. I've been board certified in appeals. I've argued in every appellate court and numerous times in the Supreme Court. And I believe I have the experience, knowledge, temperament, and skill set to be a very effective judge in Broward County. The rule of law matters. And unfortunately, we live in a climate right now where the rule of law is under attack. And so I really look forward to and hope that I will have the opportunity to serve this Broward County that I love and have grown up with my entire life in that regard, to protect the rule of law, to make sure that everyone that comes before me is treated with dignity, fairness, and respect. You know, the judicial branch is so important. It's sad that people often don't know who to vote for because their life is most likely to be affected by the judicial branch. So I look forward to the forum. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And Attorney Williams, 2-minute opening, ma'am.
Thank you, President Ellison, Judge Holmes, and the board for the NAACP. Thank you very much for having us here tonight and for this opportunity. I am Tanya Maria Williams, and I am running to be your next circuit court judge here in Broward County. My journey to the bench is a little different. I'm a scrappy little kid from Brooklyn. I don't hide that. I'm actually proud of that because there are things that I learned growing up in a very rough neighborhood that have given me a different perspective on the courtroom. And I welcome the opportunity to serve Broward County with those different experiences. The thing I grew up in was the owner of it was on America's Most Wanted. I tell you that because I spent my entire life telling women and girls that it doesn't matter where you come from. It only matters where you're going. I have more than enough trial experience. I have civil and criminal experience. I was an assistant state attorney for 3 years in Orlando and trained and hired the prosecutors for Broward for the last year, from January of last year to March of this year. I've tried 75 to 100 cases. I've also spent half of my adult life in Broward County. Broward County, I'm asking you for the opportunity to treat people like people. Because as lawyers and judges, when we walk into a courtroom, we're going to a day at work. But for the person walking in where that's their case, that's their worst day. And we need people who understand that. I understand that because I've sat in the back of a courtroom as the daughter of a defendant. So I'm asking you to allow me to proudly serve my county and be your next circuit court judge. Thank you.
Thank you. Judge Holmes, you are on.
Right. Thank you very much. To the listening audience and to the candidates, again, I'm going to repeat. Each candidate has signed an attestation saying that they have received and read Canon 7. The NAACP is aware of Canon 7 and has vented these questions through me. And in my opinion, teaching ethics and knowing the judicial ethics advisory opinions as I do, I don't believe any of these questions run afoul of that canon. The question that the president is going to ask you tonight deals with Canon 4. Canon 4 of the Code of Judicial Conduct encourages judges to engage in activities to improve the law, the legal system, and the administration of justice. Canon 4B specifies that judges are encouraged to speak, write, lecture, teach, and participate in other quasi-judicial activities concerning the law, the legal system, the administration of justice, and the role of the judiciary as an independent branch within our system of government. It is within this canon that the questions will be asked. So Madam President, I turn it back to you.
Thank you, Judge. Question 1, what have you written or what presentations have you made within this canon? We will start with Attorney Farmer.
Thank you. Thank you for that question. And thank you, Judge Holmes, for overseeing this for us. Well, I mean, we'll start with my work as a state legislator most recently. For the last 6 years, I've been part of making laws, attempting to make sure that the laws that were made in Tallahassee were fair for everyone. We had some very bad pieces of legislation we dealt with. The one that comes to mind most is SB 90, which was the voter law that passed 2 years ago, or last year, excuse me, that had a horrifically disparate impact on minorities and others seeking to exercise their most fundamental right, the right to vote. I fought to try to make that bill fair for everyone. Amendment after amendment that I offered was rejected. I ended up testifying, and thank you to the NAACP for bringing the lawsuit that has challenged that draconian and anti-democratic law. I testified in that case as a witness. Judge Walker cited my testimony at length in his order striking down that piece of legislation. So I have done that. As a legislator, I passed a bill that called for the exoneration and pardon of the Groveland Four. That's our version of To Kill a Mockingbird, 4 African-American men wrongfully accused of raping a white girl with evidence stacked against them. One of them shot 100 times by a posse. For 31 years, I've advocated for people in the court system. I've done numerous pro bono dependency cases. I have been part of numerous CLE presentations as an instructor to teach lawyers not only about the law itself, but how you operate in a courtroom, fairness, respect for the judge, the other attorneys, the witnesses. I spent my entire life really in and around the justice system. I was in first grade when my dad went to law school. I like to kind of joke around that I went to law school twice. I love the law. I care about the law. And in this regard, I said earlier, I'm getting back to my roots. And so whether it's been as a legislator, as an advocate, as a volunteer advocate prior to being elected, as an elected senator, I have fought for equality and fairness in the law my entire life. And I hope to continue to be able to do that if the good people of Broward County will elect me to this bench.
Thank you. Attorney Williams, same question.
Thank you.
And you have 2 minutes as well.
Thank you. As far as any written scholarly articles, I have not, I'm actually trying to think if I have, but I don't believe I have done that. What I did do is I built a company teaching lawyers how to do trials. And the reason I did that is because in the 20 years that I've been practicing, I've had one mantra, for lack of a better word. If I can put better lawyers into the system, I create a better system. So that's what I've been trying to do during my entire practice. And that was one of the reasons why I built my company. I built the company because I saw a lot of solo and small firm attorneys that didn't have the mentorship that they have in big law, and they had no one to guide them. So I decided to put my trial experience and my teaching experience to work for our legal community. I have also taught law school for 6 years. I taught at Nova, where I went to law school. And during that time, again, my goal was to put good lawyers into the system. And where else to start than when they're starting their legal career as law students? So I became a mentor to many students to help guide them through the process, especially students that were in a situation like myself, where they were the first ones doing it. They had no one to guide them through the process of law school because no one in their family ever went to law school. So I focused on bettering the legal community. And one of the things that Judge Holmes said is the canon asks judges to improve the law, the legal system, and the administration of justice. That's what I've been doing. And I've been doing that by focusing on putting good lawyers into the system. So I've taught at law, I've taught for 6 years. I also taught numerous workshops. I'm still in a teaching capacity now at my firm as the senior trial attorney, because part of my job is to mentor the younger associates and be lead counsel on their trials so that they can understand how trials work. And I still teach and do CLEs for the firm so that they can have a broader understanding of how all the pieces go together. Because if we can put good lawyers into the system, then we can infiltrate the system from the inside and make it better.
Thank you. Next question. The Florida Bar requires that attorneys provide 30 hours of pro bono, free to the public, representation annually. So what have you done in the last year to fulfill this requirement? And we will reverse the order and go with Attorney Williams.
During the last year, well, from January of last year to March of this year, while I was the chief of training for the Broward State Attorney's Office, I actually participated in 2 of the sealing and expunging workshops that they were doing. It was voluntary participation. It was not mandatory. So I did choose to participate in assisting members of our community in being able to seal and expunge records that were holding them back from being able to do what they wanted to do. As an assistant state attorney, I didn't engage in offering free legal services to the community, but I did engage in that particular activity because I did think that that was key and it didn't conflict with what I was doing. And that was one of my main concerns as far as providing any kind of legal advice to the community, because I do get criminal legal advice questions that I couldn't do while I was at the state attorney's office. But that is what I've done in the last year.
Thank you. Attorney Farmer, same question.
Yes, thank you. The things I've done are frankly numerous, and I hope I'm not going to forget any. I've served, I've been appointed as a guardian and guardian ad litem in several cases, looking out for the interests primarily of minors with regard to settlements in civil cases. I've handled numerous dependency cases. I can't remember if the last one was within that last window. It might be 13 months ago. I'm not exactly positive, but numerous dependency cases. I got drawn into the dependency world years ago when one of my best friends was brought in on a charge of abandonment when he didn't even know that a child had been fathered. But over the years, I can tell you that my law firm, and I think it was 4 years ago, maybe it might be 5 years ago, my prior law firm was named Pro Bono Law Firm of the Year by the Legal Aid Society. I have been a staunch supporter of the Legal Aid Society for all of my professional career. Just attended the dinner the other night where my friend and longtime co-counsel on many cases, Ed Zabersky, was honored by that organization. I've served as president of the Florida Justice Association and been intimately involved with that organization for almost 20 years now, advocating for fairness in the law and particularly access to courts. And access to court often means areas where people cannot afford an attorney. So whether it's been volunteering my own time, advocating or voting on and trying to amend and better laws dealing with our access to court system, serving as pro bono counsel myself, being appointed by numerous different judges to serve in the guardian role, I really take that obligation very seriously. I think with attorneys, it really needs to be part and parcel of your job. There's the old saying, too much is given, much is expected. Lawyers have always been the leaders and the vanguards of our society going back to the formation of this country. And I've been intimately involved my entire career, including over the last year. I'm not going to lie, it's been a little bit more of a challenge the few years that I've been in the Senate, the last 6 years, as that so-called part-time job takes up about 80% of your time, and combined with trying to actively practice. But we've been able to do it, have led also our annual turkey giveaway with Senator Thurston. We just did our 12th year where we served 1,200 people in neighborhoods, predominantly in Pompano and Deerfield. It's all about giving back. I'm extremely proud of that record. And I hope to try to do innovative things when I get on the bench to help ensure that everyone receives fair and equal access to the law, regardless of their financial status.
Thank you. What organizations are you a member of, and other than membership, do you hold in office? We will start with Attorney Williams.
So all the bar associations, for the most part, I'm a member of the Broward Bar, the Gwen S. Cherry Bar Association, TJ Reddick Bar Association, the Broward County Hispanic Bar Association. I'm the past chair for the Florida Bar Entertainment, Arts, and Sports Law section. I am a member of the Florida Bar Trial Lawyers section and actually teach in their advanced trial advocacy skills workshop for the past 2 years. I am a proud member of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated since April 30th, 1997. And I'm also a board member of Sisters Empowering Sisters, which is a nonprofit organization that a friend of mine in California started to actually help high school students in Syracuse, high school girls in Syracuse, with issues such as self-esteem, career planning, sexual education, and just helping them to understand that there are options other than what they're seeing currently in the neighborhoods that they live in. I was also the secretary for 2 or 3 years for the Craig S. Barnard Inn, and plan on joining the inn here in Broward, now that I'm back in Broward. I think that's everything, even though I'm sure there's something that I'm missing, because I really do try to help wherever I can. It's what I do as far as giving back and participating and making sure that, again, we're bettering this system and we're showing our kids that there are options outside of what they're seeing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Attorney Farmer, same question.
Yes, thank you. Well, of course, member of the Florida Bar. I've served on the Civil Rules Committee and the Evidence Committee. I'm admitted to the federal bar here and in, I believe it's 12 other jurisdictions around the country. I have previously been board certified in appellate practice by the Florida Bar. Requires specific expertise and a certain number of cases appealed. I have been president of the Florida Justice Association. I talked about that a little bit previously. Been on the board of directors of that organization and on the Broward County Trial Lawyers for many, many years. I've served in a number of community-based capacities. I'm currently on the Broward Behavioral Health Coalition that deals with the very serious issues of mental health and trying to secure treatment and needed resources for those in need of mental health around Broward County. I've been on the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. I've served as a mentor with AMI Kids, phenomenal program. I'm sure most of you on this call are familiar with AMI Kids and the great work that they do, helping troubled youth fulfill their potential and achieve the same. I've been member of the Inn of Court for many, many years. I haven't attended a meeting in the last few years. They seem to not coincide with with the Senate schedule, and just numerous pro bono organizations. I'm trying to frankly remember them all, because over the years, it's something that I can't say no to. Legal Aid Society, I talked about that a minute ago, previously was on their board, supported my law partner who was president a few years back. We have, as I said, working with the Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity, and Senator Thurston and I have done our annual turkey giveaway for the last 12 years. Again, to whom much is given, much is expected. We have to lead as attorneys, and I think we can still do that as judges. I think the end of court program in particular is a great area where young lawyers can be mentored, and we need more programs like that. And so those are the few that many that come to mind. I'm sure I'm missing some. Many others are on our website, electgaryfarmer.com. Took us a long time to come up with that creative name for that website, let me tell you.
Thank you. Okay, and so we will go to take these last 3 minutes and tell us, they're your closing statements, why we should vote for you. We will start with, in the reverse order of our opening, we will start with Attorney Williams. 3 minutes, ma'am.
Thank you, President Ellison. Thank you again for the opportunity to be heard. And that is why you should vote for me, because I want to ensure that litigants and their attorneys have the opportunity to be heard. In December 1989, when I sat in the back of that courtroom and my father stood at that podium as a defendant, the judge looked at us and said, I know you want him home for Christmas, but that is not going to happen. He denied us our opportunity to be heard. And that stuck with me, because I knew, even though I couldn't pinpoint it or put it into legal terms, I knew something was wrong with the way that judge handled my father's bond hearing. And it's simple. Treat people like people. They're not case numbers. They're not statistics. They are people standing in front of you, even when you disagree with them. As an assistant state attorney, I have offered someone a plea of 25 years and still treated them like a person. I have also dismissed a case because I felt the police had no probable cause in order to arrest that person, and they're now standing in front of me with a felony charge for something that never should have happened. I am asking for the opportunity to treat people like people. My first time voting in Broward is actually during Bush v. Gore, that wonderful election that no one will ever forget, because I was a law student at Nova during that time. And ever since, I haven't missed an election since, no matter where I was living, but really, I think I have now come to get a better understanding of what we're really voting for. And what we don't need to vote for is to further politicize our bench. We need to make sure that we have people on the bench who understand different experiences, different walks of life, different circumstances, financial situations, and everything that the people in our community are walking into our courts with, and can be compassionate and objective about that. So I am Tanya Maria Williams, and I am Broward County. I am that daughter of a single mother. I am that business owner that built a business from nothing. I am that person who was the first person to go to college in her family, moreover, to go to law school. I am a reflection of my community, and I'm asking you to allow me to represent you on that bench. Thank you.
Thank you. And Attorney Farmer.
Thank you. And thank you again to everybody taking the time to do this evening. Such an important public service. We really appreciate it. You know, I'll talk a little bit about my background as well. My dad was a high school dropout, joined the Marine Corps, went to Korea, came back, met my mom, had myself and my sister. My mother identified his unfulfilled potential. And so he went to Broward Junior College, then to FAU in the second graduating class. I was there on the Air Force tarmac when they did the graduation. And then we moved to Toledo, Ohio for him to start law school. It's where he grew up. The last two states, Kentucky and Ohio, as we drove through in our old Oldsmobile Cutlass, my sister and I had to sit in the front seat because we had holes in the floorboard in the back seat. My parents were worried about carbon monoxide poisoning. I used to take the city bus from school over to the campus and then walk to the law school and sit in the back of my dad's classroom. The principles of justice and equality and fairness were installed in me at a very young age. My summer camp was when he clerked for a federal court judge. I went to work with him. When I was 19 years old, I was part of a racial profiling. My best friend and I had just finished playing basketball, and I was dropping him off at his girlfriend's house. We got pulled over because we were in a nice red new Toyota Corolla, and I was white and he was black. And they fabricated the arrest, and they put in a whole story. Judge threw it out and chastised the prosecutor. It was at that moment I knew even more than I ever knew in my life. I was going to be a lawyer, and I was going to make sure that stuff like that didn't happen to anybody else, criminally, civilly, in whatever context, because the court system is too important. It's why I fought over the years to make sure we had balance on our court system, helping so many judges. When judges were attacked because certain groups went after certain racial groups, Hispanic judges, Black judges, we've helped judges, the Robinsons, Ken Gillespie, Elijah Williams, Judge Roboyo, Judge Alvarez. That shouldn't happen. And, you know, I have fought my whole life for equality and fairness. I can't say it enough. It's why a civil rights hero like Ben Crump has endorsed me. Ben and I have worked together. He knows me. He knows the passion that is in my heart. I believe diversity is very important on the bench, but I think that consideration comes into play when the candidates are evenly qualified. And I just believe that my 31 years of practice in the diverse areas in which I practice, both as an appellate specialist, as a trial lawyer, you know, as a trial judge, you don't have law clerks. You've got to write orders and research yourself, and you've got to know how to treat everyone in your courtroom. I've always done that. My record speaks to that. It's why I led protests on the Senate floor when we were doing bad laws to combat Black Lives Matter and doing this anti-woke legislation. It's not about politicizing the bench. We've had a long history of former legislators in Broward, Peter Weinstein, who I clerked for when I was in undergrad, Judge Tedder, Judge Porch
Thank
right
you.
now. I
Thank
think
you.
I'm the most qualified candidate, and I appreciate your support. Thank you, Marcia.
Thank you. And ladies and gentlemen, your choice in Group 23, Attorney Gary Farmer and Attorney Tanya Williams. Thank you so much. And Ms. Burrows, if you'll move over our next two candidates, I will. Thank you so much.
Good
Good night,
evening.
everybody. Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Hamilton, we're going to need you on camera. Thank you. Okay, and here are the rules we're going to follow for the final group as well. We are going to have a 2-minute opening from each of you. After you've done your opening, Judge Holmes will join us to do a disclaimer. And after that, we will be asked 3 questions, and we will begin in alphabetical order with Attorney Hamilton. 2-minute opening, please.
Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and to all our listeners. I want to start by saying thank you all very much for your vote in the primary election that has given me this awesome opportunity to be in the general election. I am Tamar Hamilton, and I am running in this race to be your next circuit court judge here in Broward County. Over 23 years ago, my family migrated here to Broward County, Florida. And what an honor, what a learning, wonderful experience it has been. As a solo practitioner, I have committed my career to helping and supporting the residents of Broward County, and I've been doing so faithfully and will continue to do so. Broward County is a very diverse community, and it is my honor to have learned about our struggles and the fights that has won me this victory, this privilege to be part of this democracy. And I promise to continue to serve you faithfully and impartially as I'm required to do. So I ask for your vote on October 24th through November 6th, or sooner as you mark your ballots. And on Election Day, November 8th, please go out and vote. Help me make that difference. Help me be that change and elect Tamar Hamilton to be your next circuit court judge. Thank you.
Thank you. And let's see if we can do better with your name. Mastriago, help me out. Okay.
Mastrarigo.
Mascarigo, yes,
That
ma'am.
was close. Thank you.
Go right ahead, 2 minutes.
My name is Loretta Mastrarigo. Hubby's Italian. It's got tons of R's in the last name. I have been an attorney for 23 years, and most of it has been public service. I am an immigrant, just like Miss Hamilton. I came a little bit earlier than her. I came at the age of 8, when all I knew was my numbers and my colors. I have been involved in my community since high school. We came for the opportunity to do better here in the US, to have opportunities that I did not have in the country I was born. And we came as residents, and I quickly became a US citizen because I want to give back to my community and to this country that has given me so much. In my 23 years as an attorney, I have been most of it in the public service, except for 5, where I did participate and work in the private sector. Money was beautiful as a salary in the private sector, but I did not feel useful to my community. So I returned back to the public service, and I have been in the public service for the last 14 years. I have always volunteered in my community through, as a mother, coaching, baseball, basketball, softball. I have also worn proudly the uniform of a Cub Scout leader. I have worked in my church and in my children's school as a parent resource organization, secretary, treasurer, and president. And I have also volunteered a lot in my community with Team of Life and Big Mama in Sunrise, and with the Hispanic community through various organizations that I am a part of. I have worked and volunteered as well in the legal community. So I am bringing all that experience now on the bench. I purposely waited so that I had the experience, the trial experience in front of juries and the trial experience in front of judges before I ran. And this is my first time. And luckily, the Broward County citizens had me come in first place in that primary, and I'm hoping for all those votes to continue so I can pull off and also be first in the general election on November 8th.
Thank you. Okay, and now you'll hear from our general counsel, retired Judge Alona Holmes. Judge Holmes.
Good evening to the candidates and to all the listening audience. You all, before you could even open your accounts, had to sign attestation that you have read and received Canon 7. The NAACP is very sensitive to that, and therefore the questions that the president is asking you this evening, she vetted them through me. I do teach ethics to judges, so I'm very confident that it does not run afoul of the Canon 7. The president tonight is also going to ask you questions surrounding Canon 4. Canon 4 of the Code of Judicial Conduct encourages judges to engage in activities to improve the law, the legal system, and the administration of justice. Canon 4B specifies that judges are encouraged to speak, write, lecture, teach, and participate in other quasi-judicial activities concerning the law, the legal system, the administration of justice, and the role of the judiciary as an independent branch within our system of government. Against that backdrop, Madam President, I turn the questioning over to you.
Thank you, Judge. And so the first question is, what have you written or what presentations have you made within this canon? And we will start in alphabetical order with Attorney Hamilton.
Thank you. Within this canon, I am big on education because from my experience as a solo practitioner, most of the matters, legal issues that has arisen amongst the people that I've served usually come about because they did not know, their lack of knowledge. And that is exactly what this canon is requiring of us, is that we continue to make our contribution to the improvement of our legal system. And I do so by, one, continue to be part of the legal profession. I am an adjunct professor at St. Thomas University School of Law, where I have participated in research projects with professors as a student that has written many papers, and also as an attorney. And being part of the adjunct family, I continue to teach legal subjects, not just to the students, but to participate in community events that are usually put on by a lot of the bar associations. A lot of our cities have a lot of programs that I've also contributed to through education. And all of this is done through my desire to be part of the efforts that are being made to improve our legal system and to contribute to the administration of justice. Thank you.
Thank you. And Ms. Mastri, help me out.
Master
But I call you Lorena. so.
Lorena's fine.
Same thing, same question. You two have 3 minutes. Go right ahead.
Okay. Well, I've done a lot for Canon 4. I have personally written a lot of the training manuals and training documents that we use currently at the Public Defender's Office, where I am the chief in charge of training for the whole office. I help train new hire attorneys, so attorneys right out of law school, and as they progress through the office. So I have written many training manuals within the office. I have also participated in the Florida Bar Criminal Procedure Rules Committee. I was elected by our chief judge to serve on that board, and I am a vice chair of it. And I take part in suggestions for changing rules within the criminal procedure system. I actually had a meeting today. We were discussing speedy trial rules. So I'm very active with that committee and have been now for 4 years in addressing any possible changes with rules that are particular to criminal procedure. I am currently a teacher at Nova Law School. In fact, that's where I am right now in my classroom. After my students just finished their midterm, I teach trial advocacy. So I teach law students how to properly conduct trials. I have also taught numerous times through NIDA. It is the National Institute for Trial Advocacy. We have attorneys that come from all over the country to learn how to do trials and to do depositions. And I am consistently training those attorneys through that program. And I'm very involved in the law school. I am constantly helping with the trial teams or any other procedures that they have here to teach how to properly conduct trials or any other part of managing a case. So to me, it's very important to pass it down. I have had leaders in my 23 years that have helped me and educated me. And I think part of our job, not only as judges, but as attorneys, is to continually educate ourselves and educate the new generation that's coming through our profession. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question. The Florida Bar requires that attorneys provide 30 hours of pro bono free to the public representation annually. What have you done in the last year to fulfill this requirement? And we will start with Attorney Tamar.
Thank you. So as part of the ongoing need, I would call it, other than just the Florida Bar mandating that for us, it is a need in our community. There are a lot of families, a lot of individuals that I have met personally, that have walked into my office as a solo practitioner that has not been able to afford the legal service that they may need in the areas that I provide, especially as it relates to their family estate planning. So I provided pro bono services as a solo practitioner in my office, exceeding the number of hours required, whether it's writing a letter on behalf of a client who is facing a legal issue within their property, with their family, whether it's giving that loved one the peace of mind they need by helping them to execute that emergency power of attorney, giving that loved one who is away from their family in other states and needed that right to get information about the health of their loved ones. And I have done pro bono services in that. In addition to that, our bar associations and other groups within our community have organized events where they often reach out to me for legal services, such as our immigration clinics, our tax clinics. In law school, I became a VITA certified individual. So I continue to provide that kind of support, whether it's through the law school effort for the community or through the various bar associations throughout the cities that are performing and offering services to the community that requires the presence of an attorney. I am always there ready to show up and support this community with legal services. Thank you.
Thank you. Attorney Lorena, same question.
Well, as an assistant public defender, we are exempt from doing anything outside of the office, since every hour that we do and every client that we represent is somebody who is declared indigent, meaning do not have enough money for private attorney. We are public service attorneys. So every hour we do as normal work is considered hours towards that pro bono. So we do not have to declare separately any pro bono hours outside of what we already do on our regular basis, defending our regular clients daily in that office. I have assisted with law schools and organizations through the Broward County Bar Association, through Hispanic Vote, through Hispanic Unity in assisting. We do, as assistant public defenders, do have a few restrictions on what we are allowed to do outside of the office. So I am limited as to not being allowed to give legal advice on certain type of cases as an assistant public defender.
Thank you. And what organizations are you a member of, and other than membership, do you hold an office? We will begin with Attorney Lorena. 3 minutes.
Right now, I am the vice chair of the Florida Bar Criminal Procedure Rules Committee. This is my 4th year, 2nd year as a vice chair. Prior to that, I have been the president for the Broward County Hispanic Bar Association. I have been a member of NITA. I have been an officer in my kids' school with the Parent Resource Organization. I was a president for 2 years, a treasurer for 2 years, a secretary for 2 years. I was also the treasurer for the Boy Scouts of 383, Troop 383 out in Davie. I was a treasurer for 2 years. I have been the secretary to the Hispanic Vote. I have been director to, it was a minority, and I can't remember now the organization. But that's been all of my involvements in office that I've held in any organization.
Thank you. Attorney Tamor.
All right, so I am a member of the Real Property, Probate, and Trust Law section of the Florida Bar, which has been very important as part of my practice and keeping the community educated in this area and serving them. I am a member of the Florida Supreme Court Historic Society, where I have learned a lot about the history of our legal system, especially as it relates to Black votes and what we've had to come through, and understanding the importance of this role that I now sit in, and the possibility of being your next circuit court judge on November 8th. Through this society, I've certainly learned a lot about our history and just really embraced this position with much gratitude. I am, as I said, part of the St. Thomas University School of Law professor adjunct team. I am a member of the Broward County Bar Association, the TJ Reddick Bar Association, the Broward Christian Lawyers Bar Association, the Jamaican American Bar Association. I also am educated in Caribbean law. I am licensed to practice law in the 21 Eastern Caribbean island and a member of the Jamaica General Legal Council. Part of the Kiwanis Club that has been doing such a great work in our community. I continue to participate in those community efforts to make a change. Part of Lauderhill Shines. My practice is in the city of Lauderhill, and they have had some awesome program as part of the Lauderhill Shines program, where I continue to educate and provide pro bono services to program such as the LEAP program, which involves educating and giving young men who has lost some of their important rights and just helping them to restore them to society in a way that they can help to be part of the improvement of our society and go back to doing business legally and correctly. These are the main organizations. I'm part of the multicultural group here of Coconut Creek, sit on the board of the Grand Reserve Homeowners Association, where I do participate in the decision-making of that community, especially as it impacts making decisions regarding the residents. So very active in the community, as well as in the legal and educational community. Thank you.
Thank you. And now, so you will have 3 minutes now to tell us anything you need to tell us as you vote, as we go now to the polls. Many of us have received our ballot. So in the last 3 minutes, tell us why we should vote for you or anything you feel necessary that we'll need to help us make this most important decision. And we started in alphabetical order. We will flip this now for the closing. We will go with Attorney Lorena. 3 minutes.
Thank you, Madam President. About me, I think it's very important to know about me as a person, not only as the attorney. Like I said, I'm an immigrant. I have worked hard for everything that I have gained in this country, and it has given me so much. So I have always been trying to give back. I have been a student athlete ambassador in high school for all the student athletes to the school, just like I was also elected as a student athlete ambassador at the University of Central Florida undergrad when I went with my full scholarship for cross country and track and partial academic scholarship. I always want to give back. I'm always involved in the community, not only the Hispanic community, but the minority community. And then when I became a mom, very involved with the kids, school, and my church. I have the legal experience, that goes without saying. Over 50 jury trials, picking my own juries, over 50 bench trials in front of judges. I have practiced mainly in Broward County, but have also practiced in Miami and Palm Beach. I've done most of my 23 years in the public service area. 5 years of it, I did also practice in private. I didn't feel like I was giving back enough to my community because of the requirements of the private sector. And that's why I went back to my passion. So I'm asking you to not only consider me as a person, but as an attorney. I have been endorsed by every single group in my race, from the Police Benevolence to the Sun Sentinel to MGage to Save Act. Even though I was a defense attorney, the police have endorsed me as somebody who would be fair and impartial on the bench. So I'm asking you to take all of that into consideration and vote for me either on October 24th through November 6th or on actual election day on November 8th. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen.
Thank you. And finally, Attorney Tamar.
Thank you. As I think about what is it that I would want Broward County to know, there are 3 categories that I could think of. Why should you vote for me? Number 1, it is important to know that I do have the legal knowledge and experience to serve in the legal capacity as a judge, as I've been doing as an attorney and an educator in the community. Secondly, it is important that a judge, one of the most important roles is our commitment to faithfully and impartially uphold the law. And I believe that is what the people of this community has been asking for. Not favors, but someone who is ready to serve faithfully the law and uphold it impartially without regards to who you are, how you sound, the size of your bank account, where you come from, or how you sound. And I am that person. And I am ready to serve you and uphold that law faithfully and impartially. And finally, I believe it is time that we see diversity on the bench, not just because I am Black. Yes, that's important. We are needed. We need a more diverse bench. We need our children, our grandchildren, and our forefathers who fought so mightily, so long for the rights of our people to be able to vote and to be treated impartially. And I believe the time has come, and I am called to be that person. And I am ready to serve Broward County. I am ready to restore your confidence in our judicial system. And I believe this is the kind of judge you want to see on the bench. So I ask for your vote. Go out and vote and be part of the change that is needed in Broward County today. Elect Tamar Hamilton to be your next circuit court judge here in Broward County. Thank you.
Thank you. And ladies and gentlemen, those are your choices for Circuit Court Group number 51. And while we're doing this, and so who you were speaking to, you this evening, in addition to NAACP, our partners are on Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated, Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. You have Sabaz Temple Shriners, Florida A&M University, who are here wanting to make that decision. And by the way, we do have both Ada Nu and Zeta Chi chapters who are certainly very active within this race and this election process. And before we go to Minister Edwards to close us out, I want to make sure that we have just a few minutes from Jasmine Shirley. We know that we are through with COVID, but COVID is not through with us. And so, Jazz, if you'll just give us an update real quick, I'd greatly appreciate it regarding COVID-19.
Thank you very much, Madam President, and good evening to everyone that is in our listening audience, as well as who I'm looking at actually on the screen today. Yes, that is indeed correct, Madam President. We are not done yet with COVID. COVID is definitely not done yet with us. We are urging every adult 18 and over to assure that they have completed their vaccine series and then move on to the updated booster. The updated booster will provide additional protection for not only the original strains of the virus, the Alpha, the Delta, and the Omicron, but also now the variants, subvariants of the Omicron, B4 and B5. We're now moving on to a B6. So we do urge people to make sure that they are getting some additional protection with the bivalent. It's called the bivalent or updated vaccine. There's opportunities now for children to also receive their vaccines, their series, and a particular booster for them. I urge everyone to be in contact with their physicians to discuss their actual health and wellness, and to discuss with their physicians about how and when to move forward with securing and completing their vaccine series, and then moving on for their actual updated vaccine booster. Thank you very much. Many of us are still not recognizing that in order to be done with COVID-19, we have to still provide ourselves the opportunity to practice diligently the mitigating factors. And those are the 3 W's. Wash your hands often, watch your distance, as well as know your surroundings, and as much as possible, watch your distance. So that's wash your hands, watch your distance, and ensure that you are making good decisions for yourself and your family and protecting yourselves with getting that extra vaccine protection, as well as the updated vaccine booster. Pay attention to your distance, even if you are outside in a crowded area. Wear your masks. So your 3 W's, wear your mask, wash your distance, wash your hands. Those still must be in play so that we can prevent the transmission of infection potentially from an unsuspected person to yourself, and then you bringing that home to your family and your loved ones. So 3 W's, wear masks, wash hands, watch distance, even in a crowded situation, especially in an indoor situation, but most also particularly in a crowded situation on the outside or in the fresh air outside environment. Thank you very much, Madam President, for the opportunity to share.
Thank you. And I believe Newmont Olive Baptist Church has a clinic coming up where they're going to be, and I didn't talk to Dr. Osgood about asking her. And Dr. Osgood, can you tell us about the time and place for the upcoming clinic or shots that COVID information that you're going to be giving out?
Certainly. Good evening to both of you wonderful ladies, and thank you for offering yourselves for public service. On this Saturday at 10 a.m. from 10 to 2 at Newmont Olive Baptist Church, they will offer COVID shots, booster shots, all of those things. If it's your first shot, your second booster, the follow-up booster, it'll be free there from 10 to 2 at Newmont Olive Baptist Church. That's at 400 Northwest 9th Avenue in Fort Lauderdale.
Thank you. Okay. And with that, Minister Edwards, if you will close us out, please, ma'am.
Madam President, and to all assembled, let us go to the throne of grace. Gracious, eternal God and Father, we are grateful for what our eyes have seen and our ears have heard. Now, God, we pray that you will allow us to make an informed and educated decision as we go about the judicial race. Father, we pray now your blessings upon your people as we prepare to depart from this call, but never from your presence. We pray, Father, that you would bless the NAACP and all aforementioned partners who are engaged in this great body of work called justice. We ask you to bless these participants, bless their going out and their coming in. And then, God, we pray that your peace would abide with us all. Bless those that find themselves in recovery from Hurricane Ian. And God, bless us one by one, that every need is met in thee. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening. Take care.
Good night.